Jane Wyman, born Sarah Jane Mayfield, January 5, 1917 – September 10, 2007, was an American singer, dancer, and film, television actress. She began her film career in 1932 and her work in television lasted into 1993. She was a prolific performer for 2 decades. She received an Academy Award for Best Actress for her performance in Johnny Belinda, 1948, and was a 3-time winner of the Golden Globe. She achieved a new level of success as Angela Channing in the 1980s primetime soap opera Falcon Crest. She was the first wife of Ronald Reagan. They married in 1940 and divorced in 1949. Youth. Wyman was born Sarah Jane Mayfield in St. Joseph, Missouri, although her birth date has been widely reported for many years as January 4, 1914. Research by biographers and genealogists indicates she was born on January 5, 1917. The most likely reason for the 1914 year of birth is that she added to her age so as to be able to work and act while still a minor. She may have moved her birthday back by 1 day to January 4 so as to share the same birthday as her daughter, Maureen, born January 4, 1941. The 1920 census, on the other hand, has her at 3 and living in Philadelphia, PA. After Wyman's death, a release posted on her official website confirmed these details. Her parents were Manning Jeffries Mayfield, c. 1885 to 1922, a meal company laborer, and Gladys Hope Christian, c. 1891 to 1960, a doctor's stenographer and office assistant. In October 1921, her mother filed for divorce, and her father died unexpectedly the following year at age 37. After her father's death, her mother moved to Cleveland, Ohio, leaving her to be reared by foster parents, Emma, 1866 to 1951, and Richard D. Fulks, 1862 to 1928, the chief of detectives in St. Joseph. She took their surname unofficially, including in her school records and, apparently, her first marriage certificate. Her unsettled family life resulted in few pleasurable memories. Wyman later said, "I was raised with such strict discipline that it was years before I could reason myself out of the bitterness I brought from my childhood." In 1928, aged 11, she moved to Southern California with her foster mother, but it is not known for certain if she attempted a career in motion pictures at this time, or if the relocation was due to the fact that some of Fulks' children also lived in the area. In 1930, the two moved back to Missouri, where Sarah Jane attended Lafayette High School in St. Joseph. That same year she began a radio singing career, calling herself Jane Durrell and adding years to her birth date to work legally since she would have been underage. Career beginnings. After dropping out of Lafayette in 1932, at age 15, she returned to Hollywood, taking on odd jobs as a manicurist and a switchboard operator, before obtaining small parts in such films as The Kid from Spain, As a Goldwyn Girl, 1932, My Man Godfrey, 1936, and Cain and Mabel, 1936. After changing her name from Jane Durrell to Jane Wyman, she began her career as a contract player with Warner Brothers in 1936 at age 19. Her big break came the following year, when she received her first starring role in Public Wedding, recognition and acclaim. In 1939, Wyman starred in Torchy Plays with Dynamite. In 1941, she appeared in You're in the Army Now, in which she and Regis Toomey had the longest screen kiss in cinema history, 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Wyman finally gained critical notice in the film noir The Lost Weekend, 1945. She was nominated for the 1946 Academy Award for Best Actress for The Yearling, 1946, and won 2 years later for her role as a deaf-mute rape victim in Johnny Belinda, 1948. She was the first person in the sound era to win an acting Oscar without speaking a line of dialogue. In an amusing acceptance speech, perhaps poking fun at some of her long-winded counterparts, Wyman took her statue and said only, "I accept this, very gratefully, for keeping my mouth shut once. I think I'll do it again." The Oscar win gave her the ability to choose higher-profile roles, although she still showed a liking for musical comedy. She worked with such directors as Alfred Hitchcock on Stage Fright, 1950, Frank Capra on Here Comes the Groom, 1951, and Michael Curtiz on The Story of Will Rogers, 1952. She starred in The Glass Menagerie, 1950, Just for You, 1952, Let's Do It Again, 1953, The Blue Veil, 1951, another Oscar nomination, the remake of Edna Ferber's So Big, 1953, Magnificent Obsession, 1954, Oscar nomination, Lucy Gallant, 1955, All That Heaven Allows, 1955, and Miracle in the Rain, 1956. She replaced the ailing Gene Tierney in Holiday for Lovers, 1959, and next appeared in Pollyanna, 1960, Bon Voyage. 1962, and her final big screen movie, How to Commit Marriage, 1969. Television. Her first guest starring television role was on a 1955 episode of General Electric Theater, a show hosted by her former husband Ronald Reagan. This appearance led to roles on Summer Playhouse, Lux Playhouse, Westinghouse Desilu Playhouse, Checkmate, The Investigators, and Wagon Train. She guest starred in 1959 on The Ford Show, starring Tennessee Ernie Ford on NBC. She was hostess of the Bell Telephone Hour and Bob Hope Presents the Chrysler Theater. She had telling roles in both The Sixth Sense and Insight, among other programs. She hosted an anthology television series, Jane Wyman Presents the Fireside Theater, for which she was nominated for an Emmy Award in 1957. The ratings steadily declined, however, and the show ended after 3 seasons. She was later cast in 2 unsold pilots during the 1960s and 1970s. After those pilots were not picked up, Wyman went into semi-retirement and remained there for most of the 1970s, although she did make guest appearances on Charlie's Angels and The Love Boat, Falcon Crest. In the spring of 1981, Wyman's career enjoyed a resurgence when she was cast as the scheming Californian vintner and matriarch Angela Channing in The Vintage Years, which was retooled as the primetime soap opera Falcon Crest. The series, which ran from December 1981 to May 1990, was created by Earl Hamner, who had created The Waltons a decade earlier. Also starring on the show was an already established character actress, Susan Sullivan, as Angela's niece-in-law, Maggie Gioberta, and the relatively unknown actor Lorenzo Lamas as Angela's irresponsible grandson, Lance Cumpson. The on- and off-screen chemistry between Wyman and Lamas helped fuel the series' success. In its first season, Falcon Crest was a ratings hit, behind other 1980s primetime soap operas, such as Dallas and Knots Landing, but initially ahead of rival soap opera Dynasty. Cesar Romero appeared from 1985 to 1987 on Falcon Crest as the romantic interest of Angela Channing. For her role as Angela Channing, Wyman was nominated for a Soap Opera Digest Award 5 times, for Outstanding Actress in a Leading Role and for Outstanding Villainess, Primetime Serial, and was also nominated for a Golden Globe Award in 1983 and 1984. Her 1984 Golden Globe nomination resulted in a win for Wyman, who took home the award for Best Performance by an Actress in a TV Series. Later in the show's run, Wyman suffered several health problems. In 1986, she had abdominal surgery which caused her to miss 2 episodes. Her character simply disappeared under mysterious circumstances. In 1988, she missed another episode due to ill health and was told by her doctor to avoid work. However, she wanted to continue working, and she completed the rest of the 1988-1989 season while her health continued to deteriorate. Months later in 1989, Wyman collapsed on the set and was hospitalized due to problems with diabetes and a liver ailment. Her doctors told her that she should end her acting career. Wyman was absent for most of the 9th and final season of Falcon Crest in 1989-1990. Her character was written out of the series by making her comatose in a hospital bed following an attempted murder. Against her doctor's advice, she returned for the final 3 episodes in 1990, even writing a soliloquy for the series finale. Wyman ultimately appeared in almost every episode up until the beginning of the 9th and final season, for a total of 208 of the show's 227 episodes. After Falcon Crest, Wyman acted only once more, playing Jane Seymour's screen mother in a 1993 episode of Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. Following this, she retired from acting permanently. Wyman had starred in 83 movies, 2 successful TV series, and was nominated for an Academy Award 4 times, winning once. Personal life. Marriages. Wyman married 4 times. Myron Martin Futterman. Wyman married Myron Martin Futterman, 1900 to 1965, a dress manufacturer, in New Orleans on June 29, 1937. As Wyman wanted children but Futterman did not, they separated after only 3 months of marriage and divorced on December 5, 1938. Ronald Reagan. In 1938, Wyman co-starred with Ronald Reagan in Brother Rat, 1938, and its sequel Brother Rat and a Baby, 1940. They were engaged at the Chicago Theater, and married on January 26, 1940, at the Wiki, the Heather Church, Glendale, California. She and Reagan had 3 children, Maureen Elizabeth Reagan, 1941 to 2001, their adopted son Michael Edward Reagan, born March 18, 1945, and Christine Reagan, born prematurely on June 26, 1947 and died later the same day. This event soured their marriage irreparably. Wyman stated that their breakup was due to a difference in politics. Ronald Reagan was still a Democrat at the time. She filed for divorce in 1948. The divorce was finalized in 1949. Ronald Reagan is the only U.S. president to have been divorced. Thus Wyman was the first and only former wife of a United States president so far. Although she remained silent during Reagan's political career, she told a newspaper interviewer in 1968 that this was not because she was bitter or because I don't agree with him politically. I've always been a registered Republican, but it's bad taste to talk about former husbands and former wives, that's all. Also, I don't know a damn thing about politics. In spite of her divorce, she still voted for her former husband in the 1980 and 1984 presidential elections, according to her former personal assistant, Fred Karger. Following her divorce from Reagan, Wyman married German-American Hollywood music director and composer Frederick M. Fred Karger, 1916 to 1979, on November 1, 1952, at El Montecito Presbyterian Church, Santa Barbara. They separated on November 7, 1954, and were granted an interlocutory divorce decree on December 7, 1954. The divorce was finalized on December 30, 1955. They remarried on March 11, 1961, and Karger divorced her again on March 9, 1965. According to the New York Times report of the divorce, the bandleader charged that the actress had walked out on him. Wyman had a stepdaughter, Terry, from Karger's first marriage to Patty Sachs. Wyman, who had converted to Catholicism in 1953, never remarried. She was a member of the Good Shepherd Parish and the Catholic Motion Picture Guild in Beverly Hills, California. Later life. After Falcon Crest ended, Wyman made a guest appearance on the CBS series Drive, Quinn, Medicine Woman, and then completely retired from acting, spending her retirement painting and entertaining friends. A recluse, Wyman made only a few public appearances in her last years, in part due to suffering from diabetes and arthritis, although she did attend her daughter Maureen's funeral in 2001 after the latter's death from cancer. Ronald Reagan was unable to attend due to his Alzheimer's disease. She also attended the funeral of her longtime friend Loretta Young in 2000. Wyman broke her silence about her former husband upon his death in 2004, attending his funeral and issuing an official statement that read, "America has lost a great president and a great, kind, and gentle man." Death. Wyman died at the age of 90 at her Rancho Mirage home on September 10, 2007. Wyman's son, Michael Reagan, released a statement saying, "I have lost a loving mother, my children Cameron and Ashley have lost a loving grandmother, my wife Colleen has lost a loving friend she called mom, and Hollywood has lost the classiest lady to ever grace the silver screen." It was reported that Wyman died in her sleep of natural causes. A member of the Dominican order, as a lay tertiary, of the Roman Catholic Church, she was buried in a nun's habit. She was interred at Forest Lawn Mortuary and Memorial Park in Cathedral City, California. Filmography. Box office ranking. For several years, film exhibitors voted Wyman as among the most popular stars in the country. 1949 25th, U.S., 6th, UK. 1952 15th most popular, U.S. 1953 19th, U.S. 1954 9th, U.S. 1955 18th, U.S. 1956 23rd, U.S. Television, radio appearances, awards and nominations. Wyman has 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, 1 for motion pictures at 6607 Hollywood Boulevard and 1 for television at 1620 Vine Street.